My name is Rhapsody and welcome back to Atomicrops. Hell yeah, am I ever glad to be back in the recording seat, back in the pilot's chair, back playing this game and the slew of others on the channel at the moment as well. That is to say, for those of you who didn't necessarily pay attention to any of the announcements that were happening at the end of last year, I had just a personal holiday away with loved ones, and then spent a lot of time with my partner as well for the week after, even though we'd arrived back home. It's been a lovely, refreshing time, but I will admit that very, very early on, maybe a half week into taking a break, I started to get an itch, and that itch can only be scratched with more Atomicrops. We've got achievements down here that we still need to complete. Rest in peace. Now, this achievement has been confirmed on Twitter to have been bugged. Just in case anyone was wondering about that. The known pain only grain achievement, also win without taking any damage, have 5,000 fertilizer, deliver the final blow to a boss with a megaton tractor. There's also 150 crops in a single day, and then the unlockable achievement. The unlockable achievement, wow. I was trying to just like run over it and go the unlockable achievement, like the impossible to unlock achievement. So I was like, oh, right, of course. To negate the word I'm using, I would use the prefix un. So it's unlockable. That's the entire opposite of what you were trying to propose there, Raps. Now, here's the thing. While we still have the Rest in Peace achievement, we are pretty much required, also kind of with the no pain only grain, we're pretty much required to play on one of the low days in the season. So we're going to be playing on the Lavender character, all starts with 2 Bs, as well as all crops grow 20% faster, because it feels like Rye isn't necessarily going to be a bonus here. Robust is a little bit more of a challenge. Dandelion, the movement feels like it would be really bad. And then time, honestly, if you take no damage, time runs take a really long, like, duration, like, oh god, I'm certain there's a better way to say that, but let's go into this new game. Oh, I cannot wait. I swear I had, like, infinite good... Whoa, hang on, one sec, I just have to quickly turn on Ultramon so I can actually constrain the mouse here. 1 second. I had so many ideas while I was away of things that I wanted to do on the channel, series that I wanted to do, different kinds of content offerings that I wanted to do, kind of, different streams and stuff like that I also wanted to do. It started to feel a lot like, and I think that many people will be able to relate to this in a different fashion, it felt like when I was no longer so directly constantly engaged in it, I had the ability to give some more perspective than I could at any individual point in time while engaged, you know? Because, like, you kind of get bogged down in the weeds of everything, right? And that's not to say it's bad, right? That's really, really fine as a holding pattern kind of situation, but it doesn't necessarily lend itself to doing much new. I would say over the last year, the majority of the things that I've done differently have been just different games that I've been covering. And I can't presume to know that in 2014, I chose exactly the right setup for my channel, and that holding to that ever since has been a stalwart integrity rather than a stubbornness. Ooh, my aim is really bad right now. I'm rusty. I guess it's good that we've got a kind of year 1 situation going on here. But yeah, I really appreciated the time away for that reason. Also for many other reasons, but the other reasons aren't necessarily as relatable. Like, I got to pat a Newfoundland. I have never in my life even seen a Newfoundland in person. And then I saw and got to pat one on the same day. There's... actually, my partner took a photo of me doing it whilst I was patting the dog without me knowing. And you can kind of see in it the absolute full command of my attention that the dog has. Oh. So obviously, you know, people make New Year's resolutions. I don't really do that as much. Last year I made a new decades resolutions to allow myself to be myself more often. And then I didn't really do that. Because I had, screw it, let's go deep. Because I had an existential crisis at the start of the year about not knowing who I would even authentically be at that point, right? Like, and trying to come up with lists of, I guess these are the things that are me. But how many of these are affectations of another thing or a response to some sort of a stimuli presented to me at some point in my life that has then become ingrained? Are those things not authentically you if they have become you? So I try and steer clear of making New Year's resolutions, but if I were to make any this year, less as a prescription and more as a kind of like manifestation in the kind of, you know, the secret sense of like, I put it out into the world and I hope this happens. Obviously, I'm not saying that there's any sort of a metaphysical kind of thing that is going to occur as a result of those. I'm talking about them more as a thought experiment. But I'm putting it out into the world. I want a dog this year. I wanted a dog last year and the year before. It didn't happen in either of those years, but maybe this is the year. All I gotta do is move. Oh. Literally just for the fact that I can't have a dog, this place is not the most suitable for me as it could be. All right. Other than that, I love it. I don't really like dealing with my landlord. Relatively early on in our relationship, they yelled at Peak about something they were wrong about, and there are very few ways to get me more offside with you than be wrong, and as a result of you being wrong, abuse my partner. Like, wow. Woo, that's just like, you couldn't have planned it better if you were trying to get me offside. But of course, apartment, hence, no dog. Extremely sad days. We shall see in this upcoming year, though. Hey, maybe having an extra year on the lease gives us a little bit more bargaining power. I don't know. We'll see. Rue. That is a sweatman, and I do like running faster. Hell yeah. All right, Rue. Let's get flirtatious. Jackrabbit. I could probably... I don't know if I want Jackrabbit over the Rusty SMG. Rusty SMG would come with no upgrades. Okay, Jackrabbit. Rusty SMG with no upgrades is a bit rough. Just due to the fact that a lot of the time I like to get up close and personal with enemies, and if it fires wide when I'm directly next to an enemy, suddenly I'm just taking damage to an enemy I really thought I was blocking. Especially thinking about it in the context of this being a run where I am trying to guarantee that I take no damage for the sake of an achievement. Feels like this is a bit of an essential. Come on. Okay, this pathing isn't actually even that great. Whew. Okay. At least we got them down near the end there. Otherwise, that was going to be a ridiculous waste of our time. Also, did I... Oh, okay. I did get the golden pupa on the other side. I realized my error as I left. That's the rust for you right there. Wow, I can't believe that the north was actually clear. So that bad pathing I was pointing out was actually optimal. I just didn't know it at the time. There's also the secondary factor of, you know, if I wanted to continue living in the city that I am currently living in, and I do, I feel like, you know, both Peak and I have kind of roots in the community. Also Peak. But if I want to continue living in the city that I am, it's real difficult to afford a place that would be large enough to responsibly house the size of dog that I would want. Because we just said Newfoundland earlier, right? Like, Now, I wouldn't necessarily get a Newfoundland in Australia just because they have white large coats and Australian summers are... Well, we're in the middle of one at the moment and it's real bad. There are multiple days in summer that I am just completely incapacitated, regardless of whether or not I have an air conditioner. That said, like Bernie's Mountain Dog, just learn how to trim its coat more regularly myself. That's kind of starting to get to the right ballpark. But then you don't want to have, you know, a relatively small apartment in the city and an extremely large dog that just needs more space. It's just cruel. This isn't exactly a dog for Christmas. This is a dog for companionship. For a very long time. Hoping. I might just have dogs on the mind because, and this is going to be a little sad. I might just have dogs on the mind because, my family dog, the, one of the ones I grew up with, is on, and I quote, the last resort round of medication. So I'm trying to get home more commonly, spend some quality time while I can. And that's almost certainly playing into it. And then there's also, you know, for those of you who've watched the Ladder Streak 16, you'll know of Junior, Teek's new dog. There's also a contributing factor of that definitely in there. Here's hoping this is the year where it all just happens to line up perfectly. Yes, that's... Oh, that is my second set of roses. Okay, cool. Just making certain on that. Well, y'all can heck out of here. Wow, we've actually got 3 peach trees already. Oh, actually, hang on. I'm just very quickly going to read this out because there has been a patch update and patch update. Wow, it's tautological right there and repetitive. Where is it? Probably in discussions. I really want to quickly read it out because there are just a few things in it that are kind of transformative. Balance changes. Sprinkler Tractor now always drops a seed from each plot that has a crop on it. 3% chance for trees. Heartbeats and roses now have a 30% chance. Sorry, 3% chance for trees, heartbeats, and roses. And a 30% chance for pumpkins and sunflowers to drop a duplicate seed. Otherwise, they drop a random regular seed. All regular seeds always drop a duplicate. The Sprinkler Tractor has also had a reduced radius for its sprinkler drops, and it will play a sparkly FFX if the dupe seed is a special crop of some kind. 2 thorns have been removed from the item pool. There's now only 1 thorn, but it rotates faster and slightly closer to the player, and the Worm Collider has been reduced slightly. That is one of the end bosses here for the start season. I'm really, really enthused to see a lot of those changes. I feel like the times in my past where I have gotten a little bit salty at Atomicrops have been situations where something, in my mind at the absolute least, had been obviously a problem for a really long period of time and hadn't been addressed. But we're seeing more regular bounce and patch updates at the moment, so really, really comforted by that. I mean, look, having a drone is good if my goal is to never take damage. Having a drone is good if my goal is to never take damage. Had to repeat it there because I got a second one. Biodegrader as well as the flying squirrel. We're going to be fighting the boss today. I could go bio upgrade and then try and run. Let's go bio upgrade and try and run. So try and run would be try and go south here. Okay, this is also fertilize all crops and all nearby enemies bleed fertilizer, so we'll probably do that relatively later on. Maybe if we get a blood moon, maybe we just save that for a blood moon even. Wouldn't be entirely sad to do so. Okay. Ooh, ooh! My cup absolutely runneth over with time right now. Keep it going, keep it going. So shield versus Hotwire. I can't take Hotwire, obviously, because the whole don't take damage stitch. Otherwise, Hotwire, I think, just got a lot better with the change to the Sprinkler Tractor, because now you do have the ability to try and farm out extra sunflowers with it. And as someone who was around when the meta was get a Sprinkling Tractor in the sunflowers and then just go for fertilizer, let me tell you, that is good. That is powerful. And that happened back when Hotwire wasn't even in the game. Imagine how abusable it could be now. I don't know if I want the coffee cup. I'm going to take the companion planting. Feel like I haven't really got anything that supports my fertilizer at the moment. It's weird. It does feel like a lot of roguelikes / lights. I really got to just land on one that I want to say when I'm trying to talk about the overarching fault. A lot of rogue-inspired games of different varietal. A lot of them effectively have to choose at some point, like, do we want there to be everyone capable of being broken? Do we want anyone capable of being broken? Do we need to worry about every item's individual interaction with every other item in the game such that there are no things that are completely broken? Now, when I say completely broken, I'm talking about the things that, like, oh, I got these two things, I win, right? Dead Branch Corruption is an example of this kind of thing. I would actually recommend listening to, would be Anthony Giovanetti's speech at GDC, the Game Developers Conference. I think it's developer, it might be designer. If I'm wrong, whoops. But he addresses in that speech the fact that they knew about Corruption Dead Branch and left it in because unless it was something that was fundamentally something the player could aim for consistently, it wasn't a problem. And in fact, it kind of served to be a spice, like an interesting flavor. Something aspirational, something that the community obviously memes a little bit out of as well, but something that people feel really, really clever for discovering as well. Whether or not they discover it or they see someone else do it for the first time and then replicate them themselves, it's still a kind of discovery at that point. It's the discovery of it yourself, or the discovery of its power on your own. And I do believe there are value in that kinds of things, right? There is value rather in that kind of thing. And I think, like, you know, Hotwire plus ridiculous HP support, as well as ability to negate your own damage, as well as a bunch of heartbeats and stuff like that. I don't think that's too abusable. Maybe I will in a bit, but I don't think so. I kind of appreciate that they brought that back, although heavily hampered, right? Because it's not every sunflower just dropping a seed. It's 30% of them. I'm actually gonna run a... Let's quickly drop that bad boy down. Gosh, I wonder if I should just go for a super Anemocre here. That's certainly not what I wanted in my Anemocre situation. Maybe I should have waited until it was harvestable even. Okay, I don't even know what's on that top side. So I'm definitely not able to supplement it with my own. Oh, I forgot about the roses! I should have put the roses down. I've definitely got enough money for this season already, so that's at least not something I have to be supremely concerned about. Ah, it's turnip on the turnip. Turns out to be turnips. All right. That's good. That's good. I like that a hell of a lot. I wish I got one more earthquake scroll this entire time, but I'm also complaining while I'm holding 2 rain clouds. That's not fair. I shouldn't be complaining right now. 920. Not bad. There's a second chance at the coffee cup, but I have no roses with me. Hopefully we don't get anything ridiculous in the store. Do not offer me stats. I'll be mad. That is a hot wire that I can't... That's stats! That's what I said, don't. Taking damage charges tractor, and then hot wire, use your tractor. Oh, wait, of course, charge no longer matters when you have hot wire. We can't take hot wire. I haven't taken damage yet, and as a result, I'm still capable of getting the achievement. Sorry, hot wire. But maybe if you'd stop appearing in the run, I'd use you more. Shh, don't tell hot wire that doesn't work. Shallot gun? I just strongly prefer the shallot gun to the Sriracha Soaker. Actually, if I take that, then I can also go for 2 bridge repair kits. Plus 50% damage. It's because it had plus 50% damage as well as the toxic spores that could have gotten me there. 1 second. Gotta keep the vocal cords lubricated. It's because I had there were a couple like really big hits left in the upgrade pool. And I know that with the amount of upgrades that I have at the moment, I'm probably gonna be able to clear the north real quickly. Actually, I should just expand the terrain. But yeah, I'm gonna be able to clear like the entire north very quickly. So I didn't want to buy an extra upgrade if I wasn't really gonna be utilizing it. But since we have the ability to get the bridge mechanics so that I can continue along, seems good enough to me now. Cool. Love all that jazz. I just had to make sure that dog went down. I gotta call them wolves now, right? Otherwise I'm gonna start feeling bad. I'm not Northern Lion at the start of the Fallout New Vegas playthrough. Speaking of Fallout New Vegas, I was talking recently about... Ooh, Golden Hoe, tilled soil last long. I love that. I was talking recently about my will to get back to... In fact, it would probably be restarting the Fallout New Vegas run on Steam. The one that... Stream, rather, sorry. The one that I was doing to celebrate Partner. I really, really, really want to get back to that as soon as possible. And I know that there's kind of... save Monster Train, at the very least. Going to be a dearth of new content for a lot of the games that I play for a really long period of time. Well, save that and Downfall, but we'll talk about Downfall later. In a positive way. I don't want that to sound ominous in any way, shape, or form. But, it's something that I wanted to get back to soon, right? I was talking about that on stream. And someone reminded me that the Fallout Frontier mod, the full new campaign modded into Fallout New Vegas, is releasing either soon or is out. And I gotta admit, my interest is piqued. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the information yet, so I don't necessarily know why I brought it up, but I'm down to clown. Just saying. Obviously can't take damage. Well, I thought I was going to clear this entire area. I was wrong. Weed killer or farming stats? Well, I mean, we're already pretty heavy down on farming stats because we have to take them from every shrine so that we don't take damage. Should that affect the way that I approach this? Yes, we have a lot of farming related items. Obviously the companion and participation trophy really lean into that. It's also worth noting weed management is significantly less of a concern in sorry, just gotta get back here and get safe so I feel more comfy again. But weed management is significantly less of a concern when you are below year 3 because weeds spawn significantly slower. But additionally, and perhaps much more impactfully, you cannot spawn weed monsters. So having an overrun area of weeds is not really that much of an issue, frankly. I don't really need a giant amount of money right now, so I'm gonna hold off on doing anything with these sunflowers. And obviously companion planting as well as the other. I just want to make as many blocks as I possibly can. Maybe I want to get another turret. I was about to say maybe I want to get another turret to keep myself safe while I'm on base, but at the same rate, I got 2 drones. I've got 1 turret, and then I've also got So Shield, so it feels like I'm safe on base almost all of the time already. Not sure I need to add to that yet. With companion planting, should we have had any, at least, fertilizing concerns are completely gone. Ooh, run even faster. Run even faster than faster. Hell yeah. All right, let's try and get married to Rue tomorrow. Catling gun gives us free reign over most of the map, TBH, so... fertilizer drop and less slowdown. Honestly, those probably aren't the 2 upgrades that I wanted to see early on, but I'm not super familiar with the upgrade path of this one yet, so I don't really know if that was a whiff or if that's just to be expected. Alright. Now, we've got a Catling gun. Does that mean we go left or right? Right. It's individual targets over on the left-hand side. So, easy decision to make, I think, actually. Really shouldn't have needed to linger on it as long as I did. Even more fertilizer drops. Speaking of not having any fertilizer problems, the rest of this oh my god. You could see my life flash before my eyes. There was the time I talked about getting a dog earlier this episode. That's about it. That's the only information I've retained so far today. I mentioned in the ladder streak that if anything could invoke a paternal instinct in me, it's seeing puppies. And it's like, oh, it's bad. It's gotten to the point that it is not difficult to make me cry just by showing me a puppy. Like, that's gotta be a paternal instinct kind of thing. I'm obviously not. Oh, I got the damage! But the kick of the game from behind! Alright, well, at least we don't have to worry about that much anymore. I'm obviously not saying that, or rather, I don't imagine that I would be one of the people that's like, oh, this is my fur baby, and it means exactly the same to me as your child means to you. Like, no, I'm not, it doesn't, oh wow, I just completely didn't see that one at all, so I guess I'm glad I took damage beforehand. That's not the situation I'm talking about, but, like, at 27, that is definitely the closest I have come to that paternal instinct just kind of really making itself known. It's a bit dour, but oh my god, I need to find a way out. Okay. It's a bit dour, but I feel like there was a movie about this recently with Paul Giamatti as one of the lead roles. I cannot remember it for the life of me. I wish I'd watched it, in fact, so I would have more to report about it, but effectively it was a movie wrangling with the idea of, is it in some way immoral at the moment to bring a child into this world? Obviously, again, I'm not calling out parents Not calling out the people that do want to raise a child or any of those kinds of things. It's just a question that people are increasingly grappling with. And Peek and I feel pretty resolute on our answer to that. We'll get a cat and a dog. In the opposite order, though, because we feel like the cat would be less inclined to allow the intrusion of a dog being added to its environment than the inverse. Especially because the dog breeds that I would be looking at getting are very much just like gentle giants, lovable protectors. Effectively looking for dogs after my own heart, closer to my own temperament. Ooh. Good work there on the cheating out of an extra crop with the trophy. Okay. It's a lot of heartbeats. Let's put those down at least. So we can get a tomato down too. Wait a second. Anyone realize what I've done? Give you a hint. Wow. Ridiculous. There are almost no achievements that I have the ability to get in this run anymore, and we are specifically only doing low year runs for the sake of getting achievements. In case restarting is the reason we got that bug before, I will exit and start from the helicopter rather than from that screen. 30 minutes in, having a restart. Sorry about that. Hey, think of the opening as just a podcast for a little bit, and then we got into the run, right? It was a very, very long loading screen, but we're finally here. God, I can't believe I let that happen. I'm on the clock today as well. I got other stuff I gotta do afterwards. A friend and I are setting up a brewery. Not like a... like an industrial brewery. Just a home brewery. Been interested in brewing my own beers and ciders and such for quite a while. One of the biggest factors that's been holding me back, though, is the kinds of beers that I would like to brew. You know, your dark beers, your stouts, etc. They're not the ones for which the process has been optimized for home brewers, as much at least. Like, if you want to brew... I'm going to try and make this accessible for Americans. If you want to brew Bud Light or Natty or any of the ones that get ads in the Super Bowl effectively, if you want to brew any of those, you can kind of just buy a kit that has all of the bits in it for that and then do it, right? You kind of just need a big old tank to put it in. Obviously, like a couple extra elements as well, but it's not that much of a hassle. You could easily buy a kit that just has all of those things in it. However, I would like dark beers and stouts and such like that, so I need to go from grain, and I need to get a mash tank and another heating source and stuff like that. It's gonna be an ordeal, but I have exactly the perfect space for it. In fact, the space is directly below the stairs. So the brewing kit is effectively going to be our Harry Potter, right? It's going to be our source of magical fun that lives beneath the staircase. We will treat the beers significantly better than the Dursleys treated Harry, though. I just still can't believe Hatsune Miku wrote such a weird scene with Dursleys just constantly abusing Harry. It's weird. Just a weird creative choice for the Japanese Vocaloid. Thank you. Resilience. Whoa. No, 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 no. Thank you. To the enemy that was about to immediately invalidate the no-hit challenge for me. Don't buy weapons. Don't buy weapons. Don't buy weapons. This is... I'm going to have to repeat that to myself the entire time if I'm going to want to have any hope of avoiding actually buying a weapon. It's muscle memory. We're fighting uphill. Any of you who've been around for a fairly long period of time, number one, thank you. It's good to see you around. How's it going? And then secondly, you remember how Who Needs Relics went, don't you? Maybe 20 invalidated runs of like, oh, this run can totally win without relics. I'm gonna just pick up this singing, but oh, what? Oh no. That's what happens when you played 40 hours oh no, of course 40 hours total. This is just on the Steam version. That's what happens when you played, I'm gonna ballpark this at about 500 hours total of a game in a very specific way, and then there's a limitation that just you can just autopilot your way into. Because I don't even really think about the weapons that much anymore. Instead, I think about them as part of purchasing my way to later areas of the game. I don't want to fertilize these if and I can avoid it. It's also worth noting I have not found my tractor yet, which means I'm going to find my tractor over on the other side out here. Stand next to this while the bees are there as well. Try and stack all of our growth bonuses so we can actually get the roses before the end of the day. But I was in the middle of saying something. What was it? Don't tell me I've completely sold out on it. Fertilizer. Then something else. Totally forgot. It happens. There's a lot of trains. A lot of trains of thought running up in that depot at the moment. You know? I mean, flying squirrels just doesn't do any good. It's okay. It's okay. I told you it was gonna happen, didn't I? I warned you. This is on you, frankly. Why didn't you remind me? Okay, so I gotta restart, then abandon run, then jump in. Alright, if in this run I make a mistake and miss out on all of the achievements I can get at that point, fine. I'm just gonna have to play out the rest of the run, because we're getting to the point that if I restart again, this becomes like a 3-hour episode. And again, I got a boiler to make. Not a boiler to make, but a brewery to make, which includes a boiler. I think. Honestly, it's the friend of mine who knows the vaster majority of all of this kind of stuff. You know those situations where you have a friend who's become an expert in something, and then you just don't really want to study it yourself, so you invite them over and say, hey, I will give you a lot of whiskey and pizza if you help me figure out how to do this. That's more fun than studying it myself, at least. So if I have said anything that you know is verifiably incorrect, as a result of being a brewer yourself or having interacted with it in the past, that's okay. I'm accidentally misrepresenting it because I don't know anything about almost anything. I was really good as a kid at bluffing that I knew things about things, right? I would have described myself as capable of giving a reasonable impression that I know a lot more about a subject than I do. And when you do that well enough for a long enough period of time, I found this, you know, around the mid to late teens especially. God, you can really convince yourself you do know things. It takes a couple embarrassing encounters with people who definitely know more than you and are not aren't shy to call you out on like, no, that's not true. Before you start realizing, oh, okay, wait, so rhetoric isn't everything. Got it. Ginseng. I feel also that is just kind of like part of the journey of disabusing yourself of the arrogance of puberty and teenagerness. I know there are many teens out there at the moment. You may not necessarily be particularly arrogant, or you might be, as I was, kind of oversensitive after that as a result to any perceived arrogance. There's a fine line to walk, and I'll tell you when I find it. We've got potatoes go down now as well. Yeah, we've got 2 really early pigs. You know, one thing we actually might be able to aim for outside of the 2 achievements that we've been focusing on so far is burn 150 crops in a single day. I wouldn't be entirely surprised if we had the capacity to do that just based off of kind of a focus on terrain expansion. One thing I am worried about, though, is that if I don't focus heavily on trying to get additional damage out of non-gun sources, I just don't get to explore the later areas. And if I don't get to explore the later areas, I'm cutting myself off from a whole mess of extra resources that would make the run a lot easier. That said, there's also the competing thing of like, why don't I just stay on the farm the entire time? Get 0 score because it doesn't matter if I get any score. Because what am I using the score for? To buy guns? Why do I want guns? What, so I'm just using it to get roses? That's my whole plan with expansion, getting roses? It is entirely possible that the way to get these 2 achievements is unlock this area, and then just stay on the farm for the rest of the run. I do worry that would be deeply boring, and that is part of the reason that that hasn't been my game plan so far. I have to confess, as soon as I saw I got 40 gold, I was like, oh, okay, so if I get 2 weapons that cost 45, I'm not going to be able to afford either of them. Oh, good! At least there's the AK-47. Great, that's 30! That was already happening. Good lord, Ryan. Good lord. Fertile eggs! Oh, that actually would have been really good. That would have given me some direction. Oh, butts. Watering tractor. That's direction. It's my first apple. Not pear, sorry. Not apple, peach. I knew that it was in that general area. I knew that it started with P-E-A. I said pear because that's kind of similar to apple. I have seen, frankly, as far as I'm concerned, heretical arguments on the internet recently. Day 9. How dare you? Pears are not better than apples. Apples are infinitely better than pears. A pear is just an apple that didn't set in the mold and they took it out and then it slumped down a little. You know, when you see like a plastic come out of molds a little bit too early because it hasn't set, it gets a little bit of a fat bottom kind of situation going on. Fat bottom pears, they make the rock and world go round. Now, I don't particularly like pears, not for that reason. It's because they taste gritty. Not taste. They have a textural grittiness to them. And my partner would be the first to tell you, the biggest thing for me in terms of foods is texture. 100%. I always avoid having peanuts in any of my food. And it's not an allergy thing. It's just, I don't want That crunch that becomes a lot of small crunches while I'm trying to enjoy my noodle. Noodle soft, not hard. Phrasing. And I don't necessarily want to mix those two sensations. It's as simple as that. Now, I'm, partial as any to a cookies and cream ice cream. But there's an expectation on that part, right? It's not so much inconsistency as to be frustrating to me. Frustrating might not necessarily be the right word. Jarring. I was a really, really, really picky eater when I was young, and I got disabused of that, in late teens, early adulthood. And I wonder how much of me being a picky eater was just not necessarily understanding what it is I didn't like in foods. Because Peak knows everything I like and don't like in foods, to the point that I like sometimes in a menu will have to run by him. Hey, like, is there anything on here you think I would like? Because I'm not good with taste profiles. I can't like figure all of that stuff out in my head of like, oh, this goes with this and this person likes this, so they probably like something like this as well, that kind of situation. He's a chef. He's a cook. He's excellent at it. He just improvises in the kitchen and comes up with a great meal. It's wild. It's absolutely alien to me. It kind of reminds me, like, okay, so I guess I've never really had a good vocabulary for talking about my food preferences. And I guess that might have been why, I was incapable of finding any foods that I particularly enjoyed as a younger kid. A whole lot of same fooding going on. I've said it, and it's been at points, a little hyperbolic, but it would be fair to say that a solid 50% of my meals between the ages, I want to say 7 and 16, would have been beef stroganoff. The same beef stroganoff as well. Just the one beef stroganoff. It had been made in a giant pot when I was 6, and then they just apportioned it out over the course of the next 10 years. I immediately thought about what gun I was going to get. Well, I'll tell you what. A turret makes a heck of a lot of sense if we're going to be staying on base and trying to have something defend us from creepy nasties and ghoulies. I mean, we're not buying guns. We're not buying bridge repair materials because we have the duck wings. So I guess, let's get a scarecrow, let's get a pickaxe, let's get a bronze tier plant seeds. Plain seeds, sorry. And the reasoning is because why not, though? I also think that mayhaps it is time for us to start trying to get extra quad trees down. I don't know. Oh, okay, so that is significantly smaller. Interesting. Alright, guess I'll go north for a little bit of a peek and a peep. Don't necessarily expect to stay here for too long. I was a little saddened that I had to turn down Watercress. Watercress was offering fighting stats up. That would be really good. That would give me some offensive potential outside of the pea shooter. Or rather, added onto the pea shooter. But I had to turn it down because I really, 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 really don't want to marry Watercress. And I'm going to need turrets to support my battles on the farm against bosses. I don't want to marry Watercress because I need to marry someone that actually gives me fight stats as I marry them. So sure, I would have gotten 2 fight stats from Watercress there, But if I don't end up marrying Watercress, or rather if I end up marrying someone else, I get 5 fight stats from the marriage. Not to mention the fact that Furiosa and Rue and... Furiosa, Rue, and Norman, there we go, will all fight for me. So, additional modifiers to my damage outside. We didn't get fertile eggs. Okay, I'll take a Touray. Hooray for that Touray. And then... Gosh, if we're going capacity, right, it's the pig. I already took a pickaxe because I wanted to do it too. This isn't really a transformational decision right here, but it'll set us in a direction, certainly. Alright. I believe in Sir Honks-a-Lot. Whoa! That is Harvest Shield. Okay, Harvest Shield's up against Daily Orchid. Daily Orchid. Okay. Honestly, I got to clear an extra camp there. That's rad. That's everything I needed that to be. Oh, good lord. Hey, it's not kidding. It's not friendly at all. Seriously, bud, I'm gonna need you to take about 50% off right there. Okay, I don't like moving in the opposite direction to the one I'm shooting because it really limits your ability to see. Full stop. But at least we weren't punished for it there. We live another day, so we get punished for it later. Man, I really wanted a rose there. Wow, wait, is the second rose not even gonna come up? Oh, I was banking on that. Uh-oh. Come on, B, do your thing, honey. Ain't no other man can stand up next to you. Come on. Good. All's right with the world. All's well, ends well, etc. That should be full completion of the first season. Money is kind of immaterial to us as well, so it really doesn't matter that we're not dragging a hell of a lot of that along the line. Bridge repair materials are free. Or unnecessary, right? Getting across the bridges is free. This is good. This is good stuff. Oh, you love those pounds. That's really good. And then there's stats here too. Being able to marry multiple people would make this a lot easier. The only problem with being able to marry multiple people here is where do I get all the roses from if I'm not going to be exploring that much? Nowhere? That's not tenable. Do I even have the ability to marry a second person? Yeah, but it'd be super late. Which is fine. Okay, I don't go for a heartbeat seat though. So when you buy polygamy, I don't know why. I kind of wish this was fixed. The other characters' items just refresh. So I should have bought the stats first. I thought that had been fixed, honestly, is the reason I didn't do that. Okay, so we were short on the season bonus there. We did get horse, though. Horse and duck wings. Look at this Pegasus run going on right here. There's another turret for sale. Don't necessarily want that. Scary mask. I mean, I'm going to be spending money on scarecrows. Maybe this is the run. No, but then I have to spend this on water crit. Maybe we still get the scary mask, but not right now. This is not the season for it. Okay. I want to expand terrain. Should probably pre-drop all of these heartbeat seeds. It's like they're not getting more valuable stacked in my inventory in this run. Yeah, honestly, the rest of this is probably just run away. No, it's not. And it's not run away for exactly one reason. Okay, now it's run away. After I put down Mr. Scares a lot. You might be currently figuring out what my naming schema for anything I pick up is. Sorry, in order to tie it into a recent tweet of mine, it should be Scarecrow McScarecrow Face. Just in case you don't follow me on Twitter and you would like to, that's twitter.com/RhapsodyPlays, link to the description down below. I used to say 140 characters of, and then try and have a description, like a unique description every single time I tagged it. But then they updated it to 280 characters. And I keep forgetting to say 280. So I had to throw out that joke. Ooh, flamingo friend. Okay, well, that's... polygamy feels better now. I really need to set up something in the Razor Weeds versus Borrowed Butterfly. Razor Weeds is supplemental damage if I desperately need it, I guess. I really need to set up a section in my Discord, which is also linked in the description down below. I really need to set up a section in the Discord that is kind of like something that I've seen a lot of streamers do, of having a kind of room that just tracks and logs quotes that people find. In particular, I can think of a couple over this episode that I'm like, uh-oh, whoops, that didn't necessarily say or come out the way that I'd expected it. It's usually a repository for those kinds of things, you know? Quotes that, lacking their context, become additionally funny. Like, as I was talking about earlier on in this episode, the kind of things that I have had the ability to see and would like to do as a result of having had the distance of the holiday. Things like that came to mind. That's probably like a very, very minor example. But things in that general vicinity, you know? As well as continuing to try and focus on community building with the Republic Discord. And a bunch of other things that I don't necessarily want to immediately announce, lest I stall on the plan or want to address it in a different way. One, though, has been mentioned in a relatively recent Monster Train Live episode. In case, by the way, you've been avoiding the Monster Train episodes because they were live, I understand there's a lot of asides that go on in especially the episodes at the very start of the release of a new DLC, right? But as soon as the DLC is out, there is going to be a live series as well as a non-live series, as I've done before with a bunch of the Monster Train DLCs. So do not worry, there will be pre-recorded Monster Train available. So I do have a little bit of a worry that, like, I put people off who otherwise would continue to watch the Monster Train content because they saw the stream content of it in particular and assumed, oh, I guess that's all we're getting for this. But no, it's just, it was in public beta. So it was stream time, you know? 18 roses. Oof. Roach Killer, hey, that's not bad. Keeps us safe. I'll take that. I'll even marry you to boot. Follows you and attacks enemies. Look, I do like it. It'll give us the ability to continue exploring better, which gives us more roses in turn. Okay. Occasionally fling a squirrel? Yeah, that comes along. That's also, again, more ability to... I'm kidding. Double pickaxe, I guess. No need for the heartbeat seed, though, so I'll hold money for the possibility of finding, you know, more pickaxes and turrets, specifically, because they're quite expensive in that area later on. We are about... Is this season... Oh my god, this is season 1 still? No, it's year 1. Right? I can't even remember what the symbols mean. Might as well be the Zodiac Killer's 240 cipher. Or not, because that got cracked on YouTube recently. Whoa. Look, if you have no idea about the Zodiac Killer ciphers or cryptography or any of those kinds of things, I would still encourage you, because I had no idea about those kinds of things either. I would still encourage you to find that video on YouTube about cracking the 240 cipher, because they explain it perfectly and it is deeply, deeply interesting. It's kind of like the ultimate Let's Play. Just playing a puzzle game that's been unsolved for decades. Alright, south time, I guess. Let's go, Pegasus. Definitely do not want that. Nice. I mean, look, the clears of these are relatively quick. I'm getting a little too up close and personal, though. That's gonna cause a problem before too long. So I think I need to be aware of where my back is at all times, which is to say, I need to be certain that there is nothing behind it. And I can only... Oh my god. You... No, we're not gonna get him! I can only be certain of that if I have my back to a wall. That's how you do it, right? So I guess that means I'm going to go around the periphery of this entire area first. This is also something I'm probably going to have to do when I'm trying to do my Robusta Year 10. I have a decent amount of turrets, which means I think I am going to be relying on the sprinkler head in order to actually get my watering done. Which means the cow is not going to matter ultimately at the end. Is the line of reasoning going through there. Weed Whacker, Turret Growth Aura! Turret Growth Aura definitely there. Come on, give me Sprinkler Head. Just immediately complete it for me. Fertile Seed Pro and then Shroom Mates. I deeply, deeply, deeply like Shroom Mates. People don't typically describe things as a deep like, but that's where we are. Okay, never mind. That'll get us back. Was worried I was far too far out, but as it turns out, we're all okay. That just... No, it didn't eat anything valuable, if it did eat anything at all. Okay, I just want to kind of make sure the snipers are gone. I really like having shrooms near base. Because we can get the damage shroom, and that can be a damage amp that really helps us take out a boss, despite the fact that, again, no more powerful weapons for us. Peach. Okay, I can't put those down. Guess I'm gonna go roses there. Those instantly grow, but I will leave them there for just a second as I try and figure out... Do I want to put a banana tree there? Kind of, I guess. It's free real estate otherwise. Oh, but I really don't want to have to wait until the tractor cooldown. Okay, never mind, we're fine. Alright. Yeah, I guess I can just put a turret here for the growth aura. It's also worth noting that the scarecrows have got the growth aura as well. They do benefit from turret upgrades. I really wish that would be clarified. It's a bit unintuitive in my mind. Bees, water crops. Well, you start with 2 bees as a result of being this character. Yeah, bee. I wouldn't be entirely sad about that, and it would also supplement the fact that we don't have access to as much watering right now as we would like. But it's also worth noting, since we're building trees, watering isn't really necessary at all. Because they take up so much space, there is so little that you actually need to water. So few plants, rather, that you actually need to water. That's why they don't need it. Rather than just, like, needing it less than the others, it's just there are fewer of them. Okay, and then, this turret goes here, because we got another banana tree, which will go here. Perfection. Why am I fertilizing these? I don't need anything that provides to me. I didn't take damage when I spawned in there, right? I'm gonna be... Well, no. Okay, they fixed that. I'm not gonna worry about that even being a possibility. They fixed that. I trust that. I read the patch notes. I've felt before that it's been fixed. And also now I'm looking at my HP and I definitely haven't taken damage. Okay, all's well. Just get nervous about it. I remember how many of my runs previously that killed, or maybe not necessarily directly killed, but it caused me to tilt, which then killed the run afterwards. That kind of situation. So in the long run, it got me. Think we're pretty much done with camps here. I don't know why I made that more difficult on myself, trying to thread the needle there between 2 different groups of enemies. Dovecote. Wait, so we have Daily Orchid, gain a tree every day. We've got Dovecote, receive a pigeon every morning. Those are the scrolls. And then we've got mushrooms grow near your well. We have a very, very powerful base. Pretty deeply appreciative of that, to be honest. One thing I do need to do right now, though, is try and farm up enough fertilizer to actually get the farming stats before we leave this area. It should be 30, and it is. Oh, come on. Please. Oh, you can't do me dirty like this. Please, all I need is a little bit of fertilizer. Just a smidgen, just a scuppence of fert, please. This is an embarrassment. I'm getting out of here. Okay. Wow, we got another banner. Alright, Soul Crusher, I'm gonna focus exclusively on you until you're dead. As per our typical dance. That's how we handle every time we got you on the postcard. Dance card, rather, sorry. supposed to go. Tell you what, one thing we have no access to right now is water. At least it doesn't look like we're gonna lose anything here, but really need that addressed soon. Now I know while I said that, oh god, I just realized what I even did there. For some reason I thought these two had already become a mega tree. Well, those date trees are not really gonna contribute to the rest of the run, that's fine. They don't got it. They're ornamental date trees. They're just there to remind the banana trees of what not to be, you know? Ooh. Want a copia? Don't mind if I do. I mean, I like that I'm getting random seeds while all that's happening, and that's, I think, gonna make the seed vendor significantly more powerful. Having a lot more low-T random seeds to trade away for them. Ah, wait, I also have a spot of roses that could go down. Come on, get energized, get energized. And rose. Come on. Perfect. I think we're actually probably going to be short this season too. Water crisp, but that's a gourd. And gourds are good. What you got, man? Hey! Full reward, in fact, probably about triple it. A rose, daylight savings, companion planting, all that. Quite good. I can't just go 2 turrets there. As much as I am a little compelled. Definitely got to go for the gourd. Then back out into the field, I guess. Keep it on, keep it on. I gotta save some fertilizer for the sunflower. Also, our weeding is getting really out of control. Not that that's a problem. Again, harkening back to something I said earlier. Or at least not that it's a super significant one. Actually, I'm gonna make my way across, get the day, teleport back. And then I'm gonna quickly just pop some extra stuff down. And the reason I've done that is because I feel like I'm almost next to the overloaded amount of... just bait them over here, I guess. I feel like I'm very close to overloading on the amount of scrolls that you can even have at any one time. I don't want to have to juggle scrolls and try and bring them home and stuff like that. I'm just going to proactively address it by honestly wastefully using some of those scrolls. Oh, right, I hadn't finished the camp. I was wondering why I wasn't able to do that yet. 40? I don't know, too. In these areas, despite wanting to keep myself safe by killing every enemy, I'm going to have to opportunely choose my battles. Because I can't kill every enemy at the moment. I just do not have the damage for it or the time for it. Come on! How many... It's on the screen for a millisecond. All right, well, we're taking damage in this run now. And this is year 1 as well. Fundamentally, I'm gonna try not to be too salty about it, but there is a little bit of salt in me at the moment. Fundamentally, I think the way they need to address those kinds of things is if an enemy is off screen, they're just not allowed to charge. Just that's not a thing that they are capable of doing unless you can directly see them. And maybe even unless you've directly seen them for a little bit of time as well. Because it's too often that something just charges in from off screen and then I'm dead. Or rather, and then I've taken a hit, right? And in this case, where I'm trying to get a specific achievement, it is dead, right? It is killing that run to get that achievement. So we can still do, at the very least... And honestly, these two are probably best done uniquely from one another. We can still probably at least do no weapon. Because having no weapon as well as trying to take no damage, like that, they're anti-synergistic, obviously. If you could get better weapons, you'd be able to defend yourself better from damage incoming. I don't think any weapon would have saved me from that hit, though. Which is why I was talking about the charging from off-screen thing. They did address in one update, and I think I might have read it out on camera at the time, but they did address the crimson birds in the desert. Yeah, that's fine. I wouldn't have put myself in that position if I was trying to avoid damage stuff. They did address those. I think they made them a bit slower because they felt it was unfair, but it's like, you could have just not let anything charge from off screen. Or rather give a small period of grace when they do come on screen. Because obviously you won't see them literally the second or the frame they come on screen, right? Just gotta remember, no weapons. No weapons whatsoever. Nary even a single scup of weaponry. Yeah. Using a lot of the earthquake scrolls at the moment just because we haven't really got that much soil that is not currently in use. So it's not like it's going to be much more useful later on for us, you know? Should try and just patch up the gaps as best as I can. Nice. I'm also going to reposition some of these. Let's get a scarecrow down here, a scarecrow over here, one up here. And then I'm just going to remove the rest of the turrets around. Honestly, if I move these thoughtfully, we could get to a position where we don't really need to worry about coming back to the base in order to defend anymore. And that would be ideal. That said, it will remove the growth aura I'm getting from these, but at the same rate, do I care? It's year one. I'm gonna meet all of the metrical requirements from this point on. And if it feels like I'm not gonna meet one of them, that's fine. I can meet it anyway. Let's see. There we go. Cool. That's fine. I'll be able to force meet it anyway by just using a sunflower. Oh, I really would have liked that. I should have just grown the roses near the end of that day. Obviously, don't buy a gun. And there's a banana. There's a mega tree. Okay, and this one over here is a apple tree. It's not a secondary peach tree. So we definitely don't want to grow there. 2, 3. Let's also go pumpkins. Even a rose. Try and get another rose out of the rose. Completely fail in said task. Great. Great. You love to see it. Man, this 3% really is a 3%, I'll tell you that much. This 3% feels like 3%. I was really hoping it would feel more like a like a full cream percentage, you know? Well. Okay, I can take damage to the other shrine in the other area at this point as well. And, in fact, definitely should. It's an additional modifier to our damage. That would, like just go south would be how I would handle that right now. Yes, this is ideal. Keep backing off and handling this. Still don't need to be as precious with my HP. But look, maybe I just need some good training. Set up some better best practices for handling these kinds of scenarios so that in the future, when I try this achievement yet again, I have a much more successful time with it. I'm heavy dedicated to getting the no other weapon one though, right now. Right here, right now. Alright. I thought there was another enemy down there that I had to address, but no, we seem fine. Yeah, that's gotta be a turkey right there. I don't know about this. More tile expansion, I guess? Because we're about to marry Watercress, so we're about to get a lot more watering resources. Thankful Crops and Rusty Shocks. Wow. Okay, both of those are really good. Thankful Crops is fertilizer. And fertilizer isn't hugely necessary right now. And then the alternative is Rusty Shocks. Sure, we'll go for the knockback and damage on all turrets and drones. Seems like the natural choice here. I like to think that I would have stayed further away from that had I not yet taken damage, but I'm also actually not quite certain. Maybe I would have done that exact same thing. Yeah, none of my plants are getting munched right now, which is encouraging. It tells me that the way that I set all this up is working out pretty much as I'd expected. That's a hell of a 3% roll. So trees are 3% on that now. That's a severe downgrade. Didn't they used to be like 10? It's a rough amount to be busted down, you know? So we can start putting some tomatoes down. I actually have a full peach tree just in my inventory at this point as well. So yeah, I guess tile expansion does still feel pretty good at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 would actually get me it. Let's just say 6 pickaxes. Eggs contain seeds. The only thing is we haven't got fertile eggs, so it's real hard to get value out of that. I can definitely marry Watercress. If I could also marry Rue today, I think I would go for it. Right? Because then I would have tomorrow at the Season's Greetings, I would have a refresh of 2 companions here. But now I'm going to keep Rue and I'm going to get a new companion. That's fine by me. Okay. Back out in the fields. Did I hard clear this area, or did I felt like I hard cleared it, but Maybe I just prioritized and left. I'm really appreciative they added a map here, by the way. It's huge. It's giant. It's monumental. It's... That actually blocks the damage. I was running too fast there for my own good, but the damage got blocked. All is well. Yeah, that I had been asking for that map ever since I started playing Atomicrops. It's just an essential. Laser tracker, longer range on turrets and drones. And scarecrows, maybe? I don't know how they're affected by that. Though I assume they still are. It's also worth noting these hogs are not bad for our defense. They do charge enemies and knock them away. Ooh, Harvest Moon. Love that. Is there a Stardew reference in this game? Because obviously that's... That Harvest Moon, that's a Harvest Moon reference there. Yeah, it was a little bit unique, a little bit niche, a little bit obscure and buried of a reference there, a little bit arcane. But I figured it out. Harvest Moon, the item, is a reference to Harvest Moon, the game. I haven't played Harvest Moon. I feel like I just have a fair few glaringly large gaps in my gaming history. There's that, there's the one that most people are pretty shocked by, and that's that I was 16 before I I was 16 before I even heard the name Final Fantasy. And I've never played one in my entire life. That said, I found out over the course of my series of, playing other RPGs and things like that, that I really dislike melodrama. So perhaps it's a blessing, because I know there are a lot of people who really, really, really love and get real hype for Final Fantasy stuff. And I want to be that wet blanket who, like, someone's talking for a while about how much they like Final Fantasy and ask, hey, Raps, what do you think about Final Fantasy? What's your favorite one? I don't want to be the wet blanket who has to respond, actually, I don't like it at all. So I think maybe it's a blessing in disguise here. Let's get the damage up. Go back for the loot. Meet you at base. Nice. Do I have a turret down here? All right, we're all well set up now. Sup, McDonald's? Saw, dude. These turrets are doing work. Oh, that was a nice attempt on a charge right there, bud. But I'm afraid you're gonna have to die for your insolence. Thank you very much for the attempt to provide competition, the absolute best. Let's go with that, and then fertilize them, and then fertilize them, and maybe fertilize them one more time. Just for yucks. Even get a rainy cloud going on. Just feel overloaded in all these resources. We haven't had a blood moon yet. Maybe that only really starts triggering at higher years, because they can be a little rough. I feel like I'm getting pretty close to wanting to look up a wiki and just see all of the stuff that's happening in Blood Moon, because it feels like I don't really have time to explore it as it's happening, because I'm just kind of trying to stay afloat at the time, Keep away, keep away. Affection. Yeah, I guess that's the best we can really do for this season. I want 2 more roses. Probably not. I guess I'm just gonna get a sunflower. I don't need it at all, even slightly. Not entirely certain why I did it. And then on that there. Nice. That's a hell of a lot of aloe vera seeds right there. Now, those aren't going to grow instantly, but when they do grow, they will give us heartbeats as a result of having taken watercress. Again, not that that's really desperately necessary, but still. Hot wire. I mean, like, if there was ever a time to try and abuse hot wire, it's probably still not now because I have most of my farm already taken up. Stats. I love stacks and stacks of stats. I'll take both of those as well. Alright. Back out on the farm. How much more exploring are we really even going to bother doing at this point? Feels like there's a whole season out there to explore, but not really jazzed to do it. Tractor already charged? Oh, right, of course it's already charged. Okay, I did get a tree out of all of that. So who's laughing now? Still the trees? What? Why? Okay. Maybe I should just put down some low-level seeds, dupe them a huge amount of times, come here. But then I can also just dupe the high-level seeds, so why not just do this now? Not that I can really afford to even grow all of the high-level seeds, what with, again, the terrain limitation. I'll tell you what. The downside to trees is that you can't pick them up, right? That's actually one of the upsides to the Sriracha Soaker at that point, if you don't have too much watering on your farm, I imagine. You can destroy your own trees. But it does feel really limiting. Spitballing here. But what if there were a mechanic by which you get to put down trees, or rather you get to pull out trees from the ground. You don't get the seed back. So, you're using it for a short period of time to get its interim value and then passing it over. But also, so that you don't have ridiculous build flexibility in the way that it looks like they are trying to prevent with those not being something you can pull up from the ground, you start pulling it up, and then at the end of the day, it finishes pulling up, right? So you're not standing there constantly actually heave-hoing the entire time, but it's like a broken tree or a wilting tree for like the day, and then the next day it's gone. How about that? That's it. I'm a gamester. I am not a video game designer person. I fully accept that there are reasons that may be outside of my understanding as to why those things haven't taken place. Okay. It's time for our Blood Moon. I did just spend a lot of my HP there. I'm gonna plant down some heartbeats. I'm gonna try and get some of that back. Also, I've been told that maybe I actually want to let them abduct my animals. I got a lot of turrets here, though. Because the animals get replaced with something? I would like to see that happen. Did that happen there? Nope, didn't look like it. No, turrets! Stop saving everyone! Why did I have to focus on turrets? Oh, that almost got the pig. Oh, oh, oh. Did you get something? And you're running away with it now? Bye-bye. Okay. So, what happens? It looks like I have lost something. Just by the way the game was trying to bring my attention to that UFO running away with it. Was it a scarecrow or a turret even? Remember when I said we were gonna have no fertilizer concerns and now I'm constantly waiting on fertilizer? Yeah, me too. Love all the resources we got there. Okay. Come on, come on. No, no, no. I'm gonna pull this up. No! I was trying to pull up the turret. Alright. Looks like we're just gonna end. Wait, no, we're not gonna end this. This is still going. These are real long. If I really just wanted to farm a bunch of score right now, I would just dupe as many carrots as I want, and then just spam carrots for the rest of the game. If I was gonna do that, it would look a lot like this. Just by way of example. Certainly not that I intend on doing it right now. We wouldn't really be able to get that much out of it anyway. Because again, what am I doing with any of the money that we get? That's the only reason it would matter if I had a plan for it. It's year one, so we're not going for a high score. Our only focus has to be survival. Also, just tilling on the farm has become absolutely laborious. Overwhelmingly so. Participation trophy would make this pretty good, though. Nice. Ooh, thankful crops as well. Even nicer. Are we still exploring off farm at all? There's another tray. What do we... Okay, we are the third day of this season now. Third or second? I never remember if it's like... Oh, no, okay, the circle has to be the day that we're on. That just makes sense. So it's got to be second day. That is a quick way to get a lot of root soldiers at the absolute least. Not a half bad consideration. Definitely don't enter the water tractor. There is a monster munching tractor over, I believe, on the far left. Not super jazzed about that one either. I'm gonna try not to take damage here because it's not like we are actually flooded with heartbeats at this point. Coffee cup sprout energy. Being energized increases double damage and blah blah blah. Coffee cup is yeah, sure. And then we also have ginseng, don't we? Bloodlust, coffee cup, and we definitely had an item before polygamy. You still can't scroll through your items. Yeah. I'm almost certain we have ginseng. I thought I got it really early on, but that could have been in any one of the 3 runs in this episode. Whoop. Definitely gotta get those 2. Thank you for the extra flamingo. It's kind of one of our priority camps at the moment. I don't even really know what I want from these at the moment. I guess Recruit Breeze. Just kind of rush through the Corpsicopia fight with those. Take Earthquake for variety. Okay, we actually got the 2 best rare camps. Wait, hang on. Did we? Oh, okay, yeah, we've gone to the second area there. Yeah, okay, so we've got the 2 best rare camps. The Fertilizer is the very last one. Actually, as it turns out, Fertilizer would be pretty helpful for us right now. The items and the animals are still definitely far and away the best. For my playstyle, in my opinion, almost everything that I say on this channel has an implied version of those added to it. If you've heard me play Slay the Spire before, you'll be familiar with this speech, possibly, because I've gone over it a couple times, but there is an implied version of For My Playstyle, in my opinion, next to everything, because if I said it explicitly every single time, I would spend all of my time saying those words. It has to be assumed. Unless, of course, like, I specifically say something like, oh, this is objectively. I try not to use objectively as a hyperbolic kind of thing, in the same way that literally has been used and is now defined as, so it's fine. Just for any of the extreme pedants out there, the unironic pedants. Language is malleable, etc., and so on and so forth. But here, where the definitions are fairly clear, I'm gonna try and steer clear of using hyperbole. Oh. In that kind of way, at the absolute least. Where it muddies the point that I'm trying to create. Abundant wood. Okay, lock up. I like it. Don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but I like it. I know that one of the things I'm gonna do with it is like it. Got that. Sorted out. Okay, yeah, the terrain has been expanding wildly while I've been away. Whilst the character is way the pigs did play, it appears. Thank you, Fat Grob, for giving us a giant amount of resources while we're doing that. Yeah, I should have gone for the roses first there. Ah, almost. Yeah, I would have been able to get married right now. Back out into the fray. Now, I wonder, because the heartbeats give you a 30% to get the heartbeat back, right? So if I stand here and I go bop, 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 I got 2 heartbeats out of that. I took less damage, I think, than 2. So perhaps this is demonstrating some sustainability. No, I took 2 damage there in order to get 1 heartbeat. Yeah, it's okay. It's not at least reliably sustainable. Maybe if I started with a higher amount of HP because I hadn't already tried to do this with a bunch of other things, maybe then. Also just have 19 pickaxes. Really probably just apply those to the earth. Okay. I mean, look. At this point, I should really only care if I get the golden pupa in every area, so ride hard south, try and find the golden pupa, come back, etc. Etc.? What's etc. at that point? There is no extra step implied by that. Water witching, I guess? Like the rest of our stats are high enough that I don't really need any modifiers. Or at least I struggle to... And this might just be a failing of imagination on my part. But I struggle to see how they would actually assist us. Microchip, totally fine by me. Now we've got like basically all of the turret upgrades except for turret sprinkler head, the one that I asked for. But hey, this could be where it sits. Oh my god, that's too fast. Too fast! Save for golden pupa items. I find that in most runs, I see almost every item. Which I'm not sure if I'm happy or sad about that. Because if you do see every item, you can try and force builds. And, you know, then you can get stuck into the trap of trying to constantly force the same build. But also, if you don't see every item, maybe the only thing that makes your build work doesn't happen to show up in this run. And then you feel bad on that account. Again, talking about the design of Slay the Spire, because Casey Yano was talking about this in a AMA shortly after the official release of the game. Casey was talking about effectively item bloat in games like Slay the Spire, Rogue, etc. games, I think is how I'm going to refer to them from now on. And in particular was saying that just adding a bunch of extra relics to Slay the Spire would actually make it worse after a point. Because then you start removing some of the decision space that the players get to make because they can't reasonably track the kinds of things that they are likely to see or likely to encounter. It becomes far too complex to track those kinds of things and far too unreliable to track those kinds of things. And as a result, instead of being a particularly tactical game, it starts to become more of a kind of slot machine from time to time. Anyone who's played Isaac over the course of, you know, Default to Wrath of Lamb to Rebirth to Afterbirth Plus is going to be completely aware of the thing that I'm talking about right now. And it's totally fine, like maybe that's your playstyle for it, right? But it can't necessarily be described as extremely strategic. There is a lot of skill in having the game give you some stuff and then finding out how to win with it. It's just a different way of playing as well. And not necessarily the playstyle that I think Slay the Spire was aiming for or going for. Obviously, you still do that in Slay the Spire, but you do it with the foreknowledge of the kinds of things you are likely to encounter past that point. Alright. So, let's... I already got the Sunflower achievement, right? I'm gonna just absolutely triple check this one. I have the Sunflower achievement. Yes. Okay. So I don't need to worry about trying to hold off on either of these. Wow. Harvest Moon is making the... Harvest Moon and the stacking growth auras are making these grow so fast that they try and rot before I even finish them. Alright. Sounds good to me. Honestly, this should be pretty simple from here on out. Maybe I should actually just start digging these up so that I can pop down the extra anemocry. Yeah, that'll be the way to go with it. Pop it down as soon as we get into the map. Pop down a rain cloud, and then we're all good. Yes. Let's get married. Let's get married as well. Love a good polygamous posse run. Alright, gamble away all of my money. That's what I probably could have done with it earlier, right? Getting some heartbeat seeds and roses out of it. I feel like this gives you so little payout to do in the middle of the run that it's really, really hard to justify. But maybe that's, you know, because I'm not necessarily doing a bunch of breaking stuff at the moment, and it'll suddenly become more valuable later. In that fashion, at least. This should be good. I'm gonna wait for all of them to come up before I do it, because I have the golden hose, so half of this I think should still be tillable. Oh, never mind. We'll just instantly kill right there. Rest in peace! Win with only the default pea shooter gun. Woo! It's done. It is over. The nightmare has ended. Now we can focus on the other nightmare of winning a run without taking damage. Oh dear. At least we will have good weaponry in that one. We also have Dung Beetle for gain 5,000 fertilizer. To me, that feels like that's a run where we get fertile eggs relatively early on, and then we find the avian placenta soon thereafter. We get a couple chickens, we let that ball out of control, we start getting fertilizer even later on, and also we don't fertilize any plant at all over the entire run. We have to have 5,000 stacked at each individual point in time. That doesn't seem impossible. Deliver the final blow to a boss with Megaton Tractor. Obviously, just if we get a Megaton Tractor, we'll look to do that. Burn 150 crops in single days. That is terrain expansion, so that we can have 150 crops down at the same time. Well, not at the same time, right? We can do it in 2 lots of 75, 3 lots of 50. But it will require what? A bunch of seeds, right? That's the big thing. It requires a bunch of seeds. So I guess a run with a watering tractor isn't particularly bad at doing that. And then there's also Retromation Sooty, which will open that can of worms once we burn that bridge. For the moment, though, my name has been Rhapsody, the name of the game has been Atomicrops. Thank you for sticking around for this ridiculously long period of time, as well as after the 40-minute restart. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you next time.